Okay, and welcome to our angle review, level 2. And sorry that this white version of the picture is taking up so much of the screen, couldn't find a way to shrink it. But let's start talking through it. It says given line segment AB is, wait a second, what does this upside down T mean? This statement right here is so important, and I want to illustrate it by this way. Showing this upside down T means that two angles must be perpendicular, and not two angles, two lines, my apologies. Two lines must be perpendicular. In fact, let me write that full word on the white space. Perpendicular. And of course that I got real tall. But what does that mean? Well, when two lines are perpendicular, it means that they have formed a right angle. Okay, and so a right angle is how many degrees? Well, that would be 90 degrees. And we know this from our previous video that what we'd have to do to find this missing angle over here is simply subtract 90 minus 32, which would of course give us 58 degrees. So our complementary angle to 32 would be 58 degrees. Now, let's pay attention though to the big key. Like, what makes this a level 2 problem? Well, it's going to be this. It says if the measure of angle ABD. So what is angle ABD? Well, if I start here, let's choose this nice red. If I start at A and I go to B and then I go to D, yeah, we're saying that this angle right here is 32 degrees. We've even marked it for you to like really drive that point home. Okay, and then it says find the measure of DBC. Well, look, notice this is D, this is B, and over to C, and that of course gives us that 58 degrees. So what it does is it helps identify when and where and what type of angle we are looking for. Now let's go ahead and go on to our second example. I would encourage you to pause the video and take any notes as needed. Okay, here in our second example, we are given that line EF, and we know it's line EF because it has two arrows up top. And what does that mean? That means that E and F continue on infinitely, forever, and it intersects line GH. Okay, so here's G, here's H, at the point J. Okay, and so this is the point of intersection. And it says the measure, see, sometimes we'll use this M, it means the measure of angle GJF is 130. Now let me highlight GJF in red. So we're saying, okay, from G to J to F is this 130 degrees. And notice something special here. This letter in the middle is something that we call the vertex. In fact, let me even write that better. The VERTEX, the vertex. Now this says then find the measure of angle EJH. So I want to make a really important point. Like, what are we talking about here? Well, here there are actually three other angles. There's this angle right there, I'll call that angle 1. There's this angle right here, we'll call that angle 2. And there's this angle right here, we'll call that angle 3. By saying the measure of EJH, well, let's see, I can start at E, and I can go to J, and then I can go to H. And wait a second, now I know that I'm actually searching for that angle 2. I don't actually care about angle 1 or angle 3. So using this three-letter identification system allows us to find specific angles that we're looking for. Now you'll notice right here that these angles are opposite from each other. They are opposite. And what do we call opposite angles? Well, those were what we called from our level 1 video, vertical angles. And remember, they are congruent. So if this is 130, then this must be 130 as well. And what we would say is this, we'd say the measure of angle EJH is equal to 130 degrees. Alright, I encourage you to pause the video and let's move on to our third example. Okay, example 3. Given angle MOP and angle PON are a linear pair and supplementary, we want to find the measure of angle PON when the measure of angle MOP is 81 degrees. Okay, so there's a lot here. So first things first, let's talk about this phrase, linear pair. Well, a linear pair simply means two angles, we just say any two angles that add to 180. So by definition, all linear pairs will always be supplementary. Remember, supplementary means to add up to 180. Now then it says, find the measure of angle PON. So where is PON? Well, I start at P, and remember, I go to O, and then I go to N, and aha. So this is telling us we want to find out this angle. By the way, see how that's one arc? To show a different arc, we're going to use a different number of arcs. So here we have 1, and now for this arc we have 2. The other thing we want to talk about, if you'll recall from our last level practice, that is a straight angle. So we know that this hole right here will be 180 degrees, and that's the hole. And then going back to our angle addition postulate, basically we'll say this. We'll say that the part, which is this right here, plus the part, this other part that's missing, the part plus the part equals the whole. Or in other words, we could say, hey, 81 plus our missing angle must add up to be 180. Now let's make this kind of like algebra. This 81 is positive, so how do you get rid of a positive 81? Well, you subtract away, so minus 81. And so basically what we're saying is, hey, our missing angle must be 180 minus 81, which if we used a calculator, we'd find out is 99 degrees. So it turns out that our missing part was in fact 99 degrees. One last thing, I want to think back to our level 1 video. 81 degrees. Would that be an acute, right, or obtuse angle? Well, it's less than 90, so that would be acute. And of course 99 is greater than 90, so this would be obtuse. Alright, we've got one more example left. Let me pause the video here, and I would encourage you to finish taking your notes. Let's move on. Okay, here's our example 4. Given QR intersects ST, I should say line QR intersects line ST at point U, and once again, let's focus on our letters, the measure of RUT. By the way, what do we call the letter in the middle? Well, if you'll recall, that is our vertex. Okay, so the measure of RUT is 51, and we start at R, we go to U, and we go to T. Okay, so we're talking about that angle that's 51 degrees. Now we want to find the measure of angle TUQ. Well, where's TUQ? Let me use a different color here. So I start at T, I go to U, now I go to Q. And you're going to notice something. These angles are not across from each other. In fact, these angles, this one right here and that one, they are beside each other. And if you'll remember from our level 1 video, we call them adjacent. Or if you want to get real fancy, since they're on a straight line, we can call them our linear pair. And if you think back to our last example, we know they add up to 180. Okay, so all we have to do is 180 minus 51, and of course that's going to be 129 degrees. 129 degrees. Our final thing to finish this one off, remember, if it's greater than 90, that is obtuse, and if it's less than 90, well, that's going to be acute. And one final thing, just as a bonus, we'll just use one tick mark here. If this is 51, its vertical angle must be 51, and if this is 129, its vertical angle must also be 129. Alright, hey, you guys have been fantastic. This wraps up our level 2 video, and I'll see you guys in our level 3 video.